Welcome, Zion family, to another Tell Your Story Tuesday. Today I'm sitting with the in shape. I did not gain any COVID weight. In fact, I got back to my college physique, Minister DavianCaffeeTYST. So we are totally picking on you about that.
I don't know about that. I didn't gain any weight part, because I sure did, but I was able to drop it.
Minister Caffey, where are you from?
Well, I came up in District Heights area before high school. I moved to Upper Marlboro, Maryland, so the DMV area.
What ministries are you serving on in Zion?
I lead baptism and discovery. Hopefully that'll open back up soon. Also, I am on the instructional design team with the Thomas Jefferson Simmons Institute, putting together course curriculums and different courses.
Much needed, much needed. I know you're like me. We both love the scriptures and are Bible nerds.
Yes.
Theological wannabes, experts maybe.
Yeah.
But before that, tell us about Davian.
Tell you about Davian. Ooh, that's a loaded question, because I was a completely different person BC, before Christ. When I got the opportunity and was told to tell my story, you know, I came up in the old traditional Pentecostal Church of God in Christ, you know, and when you say tell your story, first thing that came to my mind was testimony service.
Service.
So I can tell you my testimony, if that's what you mean.
Tell us your testimony. Testify.
All right, so I came up, like I said, in District Heights. It was a really bad neighborhood. I remember as a kid, you know, seeing a lot of crazy things, was playing with a syringe on the playground. I remember at the bus stop, a guy pulled up with a gun. Every other night there were gunshots. You know, just a bad, rough neighborhood. But as bad as my neighborhood was, without a doubt, the baddest on the block was my dad. Yeah, my dad, he's Big Dave, I'm Little Dave. You know, my dad is about 6 foot 260, ex-Marine with a mean streak. And you know, I saw my dad as a child sneaking downstairs, and I looked, and he made a grown man cry in my living room. You know, he was a tough guy. But fortunately, one day God just snatched him out of that environment and saved him. You know, and with that, you know, we came along with him. So as I said, I came up Pentecostal. We went from that lifestyle to, I'm talking Tuesday night Bible study, Friday night joy service, Sunday morning, you know, what is it? What is it called?
Like Sunday school.
Sunday school, Sunday morning, Sunday service, Sunday evening service, all week long. And
Wednesday Bible study.
And if I'm going to be real, I hated it. Oh man, I hated it, because we went from a lifestyle of living a certain way to full-fledged traditional. Everything's really strict. So I made a vow. I said, when I turn 18, I'm never going to church again. You know, and I held up, you know, that oath. You know, when I turned 18, I was done. And just like anybody who tries to live a life without Christ, eventually, you know, I messed my life up. You know, a lot of crazy things. So when I was in my early 30s, I hit rock bottom. You know, my wife and I were literally having discussions about, you know, putting everything into action for divorce. Our house had been foreclosed on, my car had been repossessed. I was working a job that I absolutely hated. Everything was just falling apart. And I remember one morning at work, I was an early guy, I got there around 6:30, and I was sitting at my desk in tears, because everything, you know, my life was in ruins. Yeah. And at that moment, God spoke to me, and he said, are you ready to try things my way?
Yeah. What would you say to a person who, like you, maybe a prodigal child, right? Like they want this life of freedom, they want to run and do whatever they want, or maybe someone who might be in church and they're ready to fall away. We're seeing that a lot, you know, atheism and people walking away from even believing that God exists, let alone some structured, you know, biblical or religious context. What would you tell people who are ready to walk away from God?
I tell them, you know, you can run, but you can't hide. And I'm a firm believer that, you know, this world teaches us that you can be anything you want to be. Maybe there's some truth to that, you know, but it's best to be what God has placed you here to be. You know, I believe everybody came in here with a duffel bag full of talents and gifts that God gave us. It's our job to find out what's in our particular bag, because God gave us those things with a specific reason to use us to uplift his kingdom. So you can go running, you can do all of these things, but you will never find satisfaction, you know, until you walk in the calling that God has for your life.
We see Minister DavianCaffee. We see a husband, a good husband, a good father, a good worker. You know, you've certainly supported me through, you know, when I had to do my first funeral. And so we see a person cleaned up. Do you still have any challenges at all, or is it just smooth sailing? Like you've reached perfection?
Not at all. Not at all. And I'm not kidding myself. I know I don't anticipate ever reaching perfection. You know, I know, I go back again to say the traditional church I came up, the old folks used to say, you know, I'm running for my life. And that's exactly what I'm doing, because I didn't forget how to sin.
Yeah.
You know, and the devil he's chasing me down. You know, I could easily be back into the same person that I used to be. So I have to literally daily, you know, continue to accept the grace that God's given me. So it's a thing called sanctification, and I'm trying to use all of it.
So what's the encouragement to somebody who's struggling? They kind of in church, kind of in Christ, but there's some other desires that just keep calling them back. What do you say? Well,
the encouragement is, if that person has given their life to Christ, the payment has already been made. There is no condemnation. You know, God is, he's not going to let you go but so far. He's called you, and he's going to reel you in, you know. So keep on hanging around. Eventually it's going to grab a hold of you, and you're going to be full-fledged. You know, hey, that's what happened to me. Just don't let it get too far where you have to hit rock bottom.
So thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciated chatting with you. And Zion, we'll see you next time on Tell Your Story Tuesday.
Thank you.